If you could do college over, what would you do different? Take it more seriously and maybe choose a different major. I would have networked like crazy. I'm a pretty introverted person and I always hated trying to schmoz with people. And I always told myself, well, if I have good grades and a good resume then it won't matter who I know for getting a job. I was wrong. So I'd get to know professors, do internships that would open up more doors, join student organizations, etc. Honestly, just do the work and get to know your professors a bit. There's no secret. Looking back, the students who truly excelled weren't all geniuses or anything. They just consistently showed up, did their work, and socialized enough with the professors to be likable and memorable. As it turns out, this formula also leads to success in your career post-university. Get out of my comfort zone. Go out and make more friends. Go to all the stuff that I was invited to even if I didn't know anyone too well. Hang out with different groups of people. Just overall be more outgoing and open to new experiences. I became that in grad school, and it made a world of difference. Also working out. It's hard making up those lost years when you are older. Much easier to lose weight and get fit at ages 18, 22. It will sound cheesy, but be myself. Tried so hard to recreate myself in college and view it as a fresh start. Would have been much more enjoyable if I didn't try so hard to be someone else and just had fun. Biology lab was at 7:30 am. That was too early in the morning to be smelling formaldehyde and dissecting frogs. In hindsight, I would have signed up for biology lab later in the day, even though the time conflicted with other activities I was interested in. I wouldn't have dragged my relationship from high school into my college years, not only because it eventually didn't work out, but because it put so many restrictions on my time and activities. Get to know my professors more. My husband got to know his professor who then helped him get an internship at the UN, which then helped him get a kick-ass job in the States. They are amazing resources and, generally, want to help their students. I'd go to it instead of deciding to wait a decade. Wish me luck in a few months' time. I'd actually spend my time focusing on school. Make friends. Take more advantage of the really amazing lectures and seminars my school offered. I definitely applied myself to classes, but there was so much extracurricular academic content I could have taken advantage of. Ask more people out on dates or even just to hook up. I was very studious and worked a job at the same time. Now several years out I realize I'm attractive to the opposite sex. Learn how to study properly, join a study group, and ask for help when I needed it instead of trying to trudge through alone. Go to a community college for 2 years then transfer into a 4-year university. Doing it this way has absolutely no effect on your bachelor's degree and saves you thousands of dollars. Get into the habit of treating it like a full-time job. If I'd consistently dedicated 9 am 5 pm Monday through Friday to going to class and studying/doing homework, I would have ended up studying way more than I did, plus I would have had more time for guilt-free socializing, partying, and miscellaneous unproductive putzing around. Eat healthier. First year, I literally never set foot in the half of the dining hall where the salad bar and fresh veggies were located, and instead stuffed my face with all the junky fried/cheesy crap and always hit the soft serve machine on my way out. After I moved off campus, I lived off of boxed mac and cheese, Campbell's chunky soup, tuna salad/egg salad, hamburger helper, and Cheez-Its. I gained about 40 pounds in college. People that partied wish they studied, and people that studied wish they partied. People that did both wish they networked more with professors. People that did all three don't comment and are too busy being successful at life. Take a double major so I don't have to pay for a bunch of electives that didn't help me even a little in my career. Take advantage of the non-academic opportunities that presented themselves. All the professors who said, "Don't be a stranger," whom I then ignored. All the contacts I let atrophy, contacts that would have been useful early in my career. All the things I skipped because I had to study. Grades are important, and you should definitely study. But the difference between a 3.7 and a 3.8 is negligible compared to the effort it takes. And the grades only get your foot in the door. Your connections are what matter. Go to school throughout the summer and graduate faster. I would take the challenge and go into finance or accounting for my business admin degree. I did marketing because I thought it was easier / wanted to do marketing. I ended up in actuarial data processing as a business analyst, and the finance or accounting degree would have been more relevant. And now that I'm taking classes for my MBA, those classes would have been a big help. I would have changed only one thing. I would have had the same friends, chosen the same major, the same lifestyle. I would have enjoyed the parties just as much as I had. I would have spent the same amount of money to see my team won the championship. I would have done so much just identically. I would have taken the same walk around the city with that girl. I would have talked about the same things, laughed about the same joke. But I would have changed one thing. I would have confessed my love to her. Now she's married, and I've learned too late that she loved me. Not go to a private school for something I can learn far cheaper at a non-private college. Loans from private schools are absurd. They of course don't teach you about student loans when you're in high school. At least mine didn't. I was young and naive and went there because it was appealing. I wouldn't have gone to college. It was something I did because I was supposed to, not because there was something I had a genuine interest in studying. So much money was spent on tuition and fees that could been used elsewhere. I made a lot of great friends and got good job opportunities. But so did my cousins who went for trade / blue collar work out of high school. Not major in communications. Get tested for ADHD. I would have done far and away better if I had the right tools at my disposal. Start when I was 22, when I actually knew what I wanted to do with my life. Instead of taking a bunch of generals starting at 17 and ultimately dropping out with no degree from lack of direction. Not a damn thing. I made tons of mistakes, changed my major once, graduated and didn't get into grad school, and completely switched fields where my degree was irrelevant. I still learned a ton, and making mistakes helped me grow as a person. And I'm super excited for my new career. Wouldn't have it any other way. I'd actually go to college and actively participate in it. I would engage in the classes and pursue something that I was actually interested in and passionate about. Not just something that I could do easily and get a degree from. I commuted and half-assed my way through every single class for 4 years. Doing the absolutely bare minimum to get by. Never joined the club. Never stayed 1 minute after class. Never talked to the professors or my classmates unless required. I graduated on time. But what I didn't get was any connections, positive memories, experiences, or time spent learning anything that I actually enjoy or care about. Now that I've been out of college for 3 years, I'm realizing how cool and fun it could have been. But I just hated the idea of it all. When I was coming out of high school and actually going to my college classes, I really wasn't ready to be there. Spend less time doing dumb crap and more time sleeping and studying. That one semester I convinced myself I didn't need to go to classes. Yeah, hard to dig out of that GPA hole. I did it. But I made it much harder on myself than it should have been. This thread is gonna be useful for people just starting college or still in college. I'm going to second year university, and something I took away from this thread is to put myself out there more, because I've got good marks in school, so I could focus on that to have the best experience. I'm interested to see how useful current college students find this advice. Reply to this comment with something you actually took away from this thread as a college student. Go to a community college for my basics and transfer to the state school once I decided my major, instead of going out of state to a for-profit private tech school where credits can't transfer, and then deciding I didn't learn enough for a job and going back to that same school for another freaking degree. Give more of an effort to get laid. I passed up so many opportunities by just not trying hard enough. One time a girl said we should have sex, but then we sort of laughed it off, and I never followed up. I fricked up bad. I wish I could go back. My college experience was nearly a decade long. First mistake, going to a state university straight out of HS. I should have gone straight to community college. I wound up going to one eventually. The credits are cheaper, and the professors could actually teach. Second mistake, picked the wrong degree track. At the time my hobby was film editing. I did a bunch of anime music videos and dreamed of a career with TV, but it was only ever a hobby. I chose to get my AA as a result, but my strengths were in math and science. I should have obtained an AS. Third mistake, squandering away my scholarship. There were classes I tried to take and should have withdrawn from, but my laziness and stubbornness ultimately led to bad grades. College is not like HS, and I had to learn that the hard way. Ultimately I did get a bachelor's in electrical engineering. I graduated summa cum laude with a GPA of 3.8 and change. I have $20,000 in student loans I still have to pay off. But all of these bad choices led me to a life with my wife and kids. I met her while I was on this crazy journey to find myself. I'm glad I made them. If $20,000 was the cost to be with my wife, then I made out like a bandit. I'd have gone to class always, unless too sick to enjoy a movie/TV, or physically unable to get there. I'd have initially majored in something both well paid and in demand. When a cute girl comes over my apartment and I'm watching X-Men 2 and she says this movie is boring, let's go hang out in your room, I like to think that this time I wouldn't say what are you talking about? This movie is awesome, and continue to watch it until she eventually leaves. Get treated for anxiety/panic attacks sooner. It messed up my grades so bad. It was to the point I was afraid to leave my room. See an advisor. My dad's advice in college was to fill up your classes with other stuff that looked cool, and all I did was waste his money and my time when I could have graduated 3 semesters before I dropped out. Seriously, make a plan and stick to it. Not go at all. I went 1 semester and wasted every penny I spent. I didn't even have a clear play of what I wanted to do. Who in the right mind does at 18? Build a relationship with my professors more. I wouldn't have signed up for a credit card at 18. I wouldn't have been so scared about what other people thought of me. I would have taken that class that interested me, even though it was early in the morning. Drop out. Avoid Greek life. Get involved in the clubs for my major early. Quit that first job that treated me like crap, but I stayed because I thought it was hard to find a crappy minimum wage job. I love a lot of these answers, but I would like to add that if whatever you think you want to do doesn't work out, you can always try something else. My bachelor's is in religion, and I've started taking online classes at local community colleges where I'm studying finance and accounting. You can refocus your career after college. It takes more effort, but is entirely doable. Not go. Bang more chicks. Quite honestly, if I could go back to the time of my life during which I was in college, I don't think I'd change anything. After all, the mistakes that I made then wound up paving the way to where I'm now, and I'm honestly pretty content with my current lot in life. If it were possible to redo a few things without affecting the present, though, well, I would probably fix the following. 1. I'd spend less time trying to force a dead-end relationship to work. 2. Following that, I'd date the cellist who was pursuing me. 2. I still wouldn't attend capoeira classes with her, though. 3. I might actually go to class more often than once or twice a week. 4. I wouldn't spend $5,000 on pizza and ginger ale. 5. No, it wasn't all at once. It was over the course of, well, still too short a span. Really. 6. I wouldn't have abandoned the orgy that was brought on by the barter system. 7. I wouldn't have bought those goddamn nunchaku. 8. I would have insisted on set in stone contracts for my first film jobs. 9. I would have accepted the publishing offer that I, stupidly, turned down for being too small. There are probably quite a few more things that I could change, but those were some of the bigger turning points in my life back then. Still, as I said, I think I wound up in a decent enough place, and the above list just represents some of the bumps in the road that brought me here. It would sure be nice to have that $5,000, though. TL. Doctor, I would have been less of a bumbling idiot. I would have participated in more extracurricular activities. At the time, I didn't appreciate how little time and opportunity I would have to explore new interests as a working adult. Besides going back to change my major, I would have taken social events, joining clubs, networking, just meeting new people more seriously. Frick you. Social anxiety. I would do the 5-year BA/MA program. Figure out what classes I had to do and what major I wanted to do earlier instead of guessing. Now I'm graduating this semester, but took me 6 years instead of 4. Not go to college and go to trade school like a smart person that thought for themselves and did genuine research on important decisions that would determine the rest of their entire lives. Or take psychology, IDK. Not waste my time in Greek life dealing with a bunch of two-faced backstabbers who try to gaslight you into believing they would never screw you over, your brothers. Choose a school in a location where I'd like to end up living afterwards. You make a lot of contacts during your time in school and any internships you may have while there, and lose quite a bit of their usefulness if you then relocate to a different geographic region. I would drink a whole lot less. I did very well in school, 3.85 GPA, came out with a great job, and am doing quite well relative to many of my peers. The only downside is that I don't really remember much of my freshman and sophomore year. I had a lot of fun with my friends and I loved hanging out with them, but a lot of my nights and a non-trivial amount of my days end up as a wasted blur. It's really easy to let drinking get out of control. Everything in moderation is fine. But drinking for 7 nights a week for 4 years has definitely held me back and has made social drinking with my new coworkers difficult. Don't drink as much as I did. I went to 3 different colleges over the course of 9 years. I loved the last one the most, and I wish I had just started and finished there. The problem with that is I'd probably have a different major I don't think I would have actually enjoyed. So I guess it all worked out. Figure out what I wanted to do before wasting my financial aid on finding myself. I initially wanted to take a gap year after high school, but my parents would put up the biggest fight ever. I would rush. My buddies all wanted me to join their fraternity, and I thought I had enough friends already and didn't see the point. Until all my friends rushed too, so they had their circles, and it would have been really good for networking. Also chicks. Invest in Google. Invest in Apple. Short Enron. Invent Facebook. Trademark the name Tesla. Patent CRISPR Cas9 method. Major in chemistry right from the start. Wasted 2 years barely getting by cause I thought biology was easy. It ended up being too much memorization for me. What I learned, at least, is I like to know about what's going on behind the scenes, and chemistry was just that. Now I find that biology is easier to learn because I kinda have an idea of what's going on. Easy example, cellular respiration. They forced us to memorize that cycle and its enzymes. If I had understood / if they taught why and how glucose breaks down, I wouldn't have had an issue. But yeah, chemistry ended up being right up my alley, and found a passion in it. Not physics though. Frick that. Too hard. I wouldn't go. I was never given the option not to go. Because I was supposedly intelligent. I wasn't given any other choices, and not going to uni was seen as being a failure. I did manage to get a degree, but I wasn't ambitious enough to use it in a way that would earn me enough to make it worthwhile. I'm not suited to high-paying jobs. I had no calling or vocation. This would have been fine if my education had been free, but I got into debt, and I'm still paying that debt off. High-paying jobs don't magically appear just because you have a degree, and degrees have become incredibly devalued. I've seen people advertising admin jobs at pretty much minimum wage and requiring a degree, and these weren't entry-level jobs where you had a chance for advancement eventually. It was essentially dead-end stuff. Degrees don't seem to be worth what they used to be worth or have the same prestige, while at the same time costing significantly more to get. People will often point out that while you won't walk into a higher paying job because of a degree, it will help you to get one eventually later in your career. Unfortunately, that doesn't always appear to be true, and the debt can be so massive that even a high paying job isn't enough to make a degree worth it. Also, if you factor in the fact that property prices and the cost of living are rising, it's even less worth it on balance for some people. I think that, if you are a young person considering university, you need to think extremely carefully about whether your chosen career path can realistically pay you back for your degree. I also think we need to restructure society so that on-the-job training is more common in all professions. I don't see why it should only exist for things like manual trades. Follow through with my internship. Instead, I couldn't bring myself to leave the US because I met the man I married. Love him. But sometimes I wonder what life would be like if I followed through on my plans. Make better relationship choices probably. Every guy I dated in college was a jerk. I never dated in high school and spent my life since middle school crushing on my friend who always liked somebody else. I saw going to college as a fresh start and tried to talk to more guys, which led me to getting too excited when one showed interest and later treated me like crap. I did get introduced to my band through one ex-boyfriend though, so that was a good thing. The rest of the human waste I dated in college did nothing for me. I just lacked a lot of self-esteem and the ability to stand up for myself at first. Take it more seriously. Don't skip classes to frick my girlfriend who's now my ex-girlfriend. Actually, care about crap. I blame myself because of my fear of failure that I would frick it up. But honestly, seeing myself that I can do anything if I give a crap enough about it, I can freaking do it. I ran up the escalator to save a little girl who was teetering at a masses yesterday on pure instinct that I didn't wanted to see her fall and hurt herself. I got my freaking associate's degree. If I could simply do that crap with no problem, then I can freaking kick ass in general. All it takes is trying, preparation, willpower and care. Oh, and self-maintenance. I would go see a doctor for an ADHD diagnosis prior to graduating, after I realized that my problems were not only unmanageable, but also straight on symptoms for unmediated ADHD, and that I needed to see someone. I was afraid that I would be seen as pill-seeking, and decided to wait until after I graduated to seek help. I had given up on the prospect of grad school and knew that I didn't have the tools to be successful anyway, but that I was going to need help to survive professionally. By the end of undergrad, I pretty much just threw myself over the finish line, exhausted. This means that my transcript isn't as pretty as I would like it to be and truly doesn't reflect my abilities. And now that I'm in the process of getting my symptoms under control and feel like I could actually be able to handle grad school in the next year or so, I don't have academic evidence to provide for graduate applications. I wish I had swallowed my pride and realized the methods to my madness were born not from laziness or stupidity, but a medical problem that had a treatment. Additionally, I wish I had known when I started taking caffeine pills as a study aid as a freshman that what I was doing was self-medicating with a stimulant, and that stimulant medication could solve a lot of my problems. If you believe you are struggling with ADHD or any other mental illness, it cannot hurt to talk to someone about it. Only a professional can determine if it is ADHD or one of the many other neurobiological conditions which can mimic ADHD. But once you have a clear diagnosis, you will also have the tools to manage your symptoms and be successful. Do not wait, your educational legacy is far too important. Natalie. I would have done Natalie different. I just wouldn't even bother. I used NIU as an excuse to come to New York City. I could have picked a cheaper school or found a way to come here myself.